The spirit of freedom and liberty lie in the hearts of all people. A spirit that declares that all people should be freed from tyranny and oppression. A spirit required by all men to know and understand the rights of all people.
From the beginning of time and throughout history, men and women have cried out and fought to champion the cause of freedom, the individual worth of man, and the protection of their rights. The incredible, miraculous beginning of America is a story of conflict, struggle, passion, and desire of people to be free.
America, we are thy sons, and we shall keep thee free. For in our veins there flows the blood of Washington and Lee. No foreign flag upon thy sod shall we allow to stand. No iron shackles from abroad shall touch thy foot or hand. They mock thine army, say 'tis small, thy navy too they scorn. Have they forgot the laurels won since freedom here was born? They say thine untrained citizens will never soldiers be. Have they forgot those valiant men who fought in '63? America, thy sons are true, and if thou wilt but call, 10 million men will give to thee their homes, their lives, their all. For thou dost stand for what is right, for freedom of the seas. God grant old glory may always float forever in the breeze. Price to pay. Each generation's gotta win it anew, 'cause it's not something handed down to you. Freedom isn't free. Come on, everybody, you know you want to do it. Freedom isn't free. Woo! You gotta pay a price, you gotta sacrifice for your liberty. Yeah! There was a general by the name of George, with a small band of men at Valley Forge. Like the comfort of home or the cold and ice, they won independence because they paid the price. Here we go again. Freedom isn't free. There you go. Freedom isn't free. You gotta pay a price, you gotta sacrifice for your liberty. To some people, freedom is a waving flag. To do your own thing is another man's bag. But every man's freedom is eternal quest. Free to give humanity your very best. Do it one time. Freedom isn't free. Yeah, woo! Freedom isn't free. You gotta pay a price. You gotta sacrifice for your liberty. Woo! Freedom isn't free. Freedom isn't free. Free!
Freedom is a God-given gift promising life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for every individual who has lived and continues to live on this earth. But freedom is not easy to come by, and it is not free. It usually comes with a price. That price can even be that of one's own life. In the early 1400s, Saint Joan of Arc, heroine of France, cried out as she tried to champion the cause of freedom and boldly, at age 17, led the French army to deliver France. Let's journey back into history and meet this young heroine.
Know all men that the most illustrious Charles, by the grace of God, King of France, is pleased to confer upon his well-beloved servant, Joan of Arc, the title, emoluments, and authorities in general-in-chief over the armies of France.
I felt confident, energetic, and I seemed to have a great endurance for fatigue. Sometimes, when all seemed lost, and my men seemed exhausted and discouraged, I went off to pray. And when I returned, my sacred banner filled the men with confidence. They were renewed to achieve the impossible. The victory was close at hand, and my men followed me with my indomitable courage as we charged over the walls of our enemies. The English, thinking they were safe, found themselves under attack, in front and in back.
But despite the attack, on May 26, 1430, Joan was captured. She was imprisoned and kept in heavy chains for months. She was accused of witchcraft and of following the devil. Her freedom would be granted only upon her denial of the voices. Nothing would change her mind, and she stood by her testimony until she died. The fires were ignited around the stake, and she was again given the chance to recant.
Every man gives his life for what he believes. Every woman gives her life for what she believes. Some people believe in little or nothing, and they give their lives to that little or nothing. One life is all we have. We live it as we believe in living it, and then it's gone. But to surrender what you are and live without belief is more terrible than dying.
Do you hear the people sing, singing the song of angry men? It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drum, there is a life about to start when tomorrow comes. Will you join in our crusade? Who will be strong and stand with me? Beyond the barricade, is there a world you long to see? Then join in the fight that will give you the right to be free. Do you hear the people sing, singing the song of angry men? It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drums, there is a life about to start when tomorrow comes.
Will you give all you can give so that our banner may advance? Some will fall and some will live. Will you stand up and take your chance? The blood of the martyrs will water the meadows of France.
Do you hear the people sing, singing the song of angry men? It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drums, there is a life about to start when tomorrow comes.
Singing the songs of angry men. This time, the cries are from the Dutch in the 1500s when they were under attack by the Spaniards. These poor Dutch people suffered many atrocities at the hands of the Spaniards. They had been taxed unjustly, their property had been seized, and many had been thrown in prison. And not only that, thousands had been roasted at the stake for reading the Bible. Peter van der Werf was the burgomaster and did everything in his power to rescue the Dutch people and their land from the cruel bonds of oppression. But the people were starving, and thousands had already died. The few remaining were surviving on cats, rats, and dogs. Babies were dying in their mothers' arms. Disease was rampant, and dead bodies were everywhere. Still, the survivors held out and would do anything for their freedom. However, some started begging the Burgermeister to give up.
Would you have me surrender? I have taken my oath to hold this city. May God give me strength to keep it. Here, take my sword. Divide my flesh to appease hunger, but God helping me, I will never surrender. You call us rat eaters. We are. But so long as you hear a dog bark inside the walls, you will know that the city holds out. We will eat our left arms and fight with our right, and when we have strength no longer, we will set fire to the city and perish in the flames, rather than give up our liberties. David walked into the valley with a stone clutched in his hand. He was only a boy, but he knew someone must take a stand. There will always be a valley, always mountains one must scale. There will always be perilous waters which someone must sail. Into terror, into valor, into jungles, into hell. Let us ride home again with a story to tell. Into darkness, into danger, into storms that rip the night. Don't give in, don't give up, but give thanks for the glorious fight. You can tremble, you can fear it, but keep that fighting spirit alive, boys. Let the sheer of it sting you, fling into battle, spring to your feet. Boys, never hold back your step for a moment. Never doubt that your courage will grow. Hold your head even higher and into the fire we go. Men, if we don't stand for something, we will fall for anything. Are there mountains that surround us? Are there walls that block the way? Knock 'em down, strip 'em back, boys, and forward and into the fray. Into terror, into valor, charge ahead, no, never turn. Yes, it's into the fire we fly, and the devil will burn. Someone has to face a valley, rushed in, we have to rally and win. Boys, when the world is saying not to, that's when you know you've got to march on. Boys, never hold back your step for a moment. Never doubt that your courage will grow. Hold your head even higher and into the fire we go.
Let the lightning strike.
That's the
Let
spirit.
the flash of it shock.
Here, here!
Choke your fears away. Pull as tight as a wire.
Let the fever spike, let the force of it rock you. We will have our day sailing into the fire. Men, we must not only live, we must fight. Right. We must conquer our fears and defeat them. Someone has to rally, rush in, rally, and win. When the world say no to, that's when you got to march on, boys. Never hold back your step for a moment. Look alive, oh, your courage will grow. Yes, it's higher and into the fire we go. Into fire, onward,
At the turn of the 16th century, we hear another cry for freedom. We take you to a region called Scrooby, England. In those days, everyone, rich or poor, had to belong to the Church of England. Rejecting the doctrines of the Church of England was a crime, punishable by prison or even death. Many times pilgrims attempted to escape persecution. When they tried to leave England, they would find themselves captured, arrested, and thrown into dungeons. Finally, in the late summer of 1608, the Scrooby separatists reached Holland. The air was filled with energy and excitement, a wonderful sense of freedom. However, life was hard in Holland. What was it that sparked the flame that ignited the fire in the hearts of these men and women to leave their homes, to board a crowded ship, cross a vast ocean, and sail to an unknown land?
Far, we've been traveling far, without a home, but not without a star. Free, only want to be free. We huddle close, hang on to a dream. On the boats and on the planes, we're coming to America, never turning back again. We're coming to America.
Oh, though it seems so far away, we're traveling light today in the eye of our storm, in the eye of our storm. Everywhere around the world, we're coming to America. Every time that flag's unfurled, we're coming to America. Got a dream to take us there. We're coming to America. Got a dream we've come to share. We're coming to America. We're coming to America. Today! 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 My country, 'tis of thee. Today! Sweet land of liberty. Today! Of thee I see. Today! Of thee I see. Today! We're coming to America. 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 We're coming to America today. Today. America today.
The first half of the voyage was rather smooth, but then they were faced with bad storms. Sickness and death set in, and it became doubtful that they would make it to America. And when they landed, they had no friends to welcome them. They had nothing. Yet they fell upon their knees and blessed the God of heaven who had delivered them from tyranny and from the perils and miseries of the crossing.
Our fathers, God, to thee, author of liberty, to thee we sing. Long may our land be bright with freedom's holy light. Protect us by thy might, great God our King.
The colonists were beginning to feel comfortable in their new world, but they were still under the rule of the King of England. and he was making their lives miserable. The colonists were ordered to fight England's wars and pay for them with heavy taxes and conform to the king's other demands. These demands became so unbearable and intolerable that the colonists began to rebel against the king.
The king. Oh, what does the king have on his mind tonight?
Yes, Your Majesty.
Of course, Your Majesty.
Whatever you like, Your Majesty.
But what about us, Your Majesty?
You take away our rights. You take away our freedoms. Why, your laws have become unbearable. And you have a denial and refusal manner, Your Majesty.
Right.
In fact, you accommodate only yourself. You harass us. You transport us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses. You protect your own soldiers from punishment, and you cut off our trade with the world and deprive us of the benefits of trial by jury. Why all these usurpations, Your Majesty?
The Stamp Act. The Intolerable Acts.
The Sugar Acts.
What are you thinking, Your Majesty?
You wage war against us.
You are cruel. You are barbaric, Your Majesty.
You are guilty of tyranny, Your Majesty.
Oh, the colonists, the colonists. What do the colonists have on their minds tonight?
It's new, Your Majesty.
It's war, Your Majesty.
Yes, Your Majesty. The answer is war.
And war it was!
All right, for this next song, we're going to need some volunteers. Can we have little kids? Any little kids want to help out? Anybody? Come on up. Come on up. Don't be shy. Come on up. All right. Does anyone know who was the famous rider on a horse who let all the colonies know that the British were coming? Paul Revere. Good job. All right, we're going to do a little Paul Revere for you right now, and we're going to have your kids help us reenact what Paul Revere did by helping us ride our imaginary horses around to the colonists. All right, here we go. Okay, ready?
They saw two lanterns in the North Church Tower. Ride, ride, they knew this was to be a fateful hour. Ride, ride, learn to ride, and to unarm. Every village and every farm, he awakened them and called to arms. It was the ride of Paul Revere. Ride, ride till the night be old. Ride, ride till the truth be told. Ride, ride like the man of old. Ride like Paul Revere. Okay, stop the horse. Ready? Whoa! Stand upon an April night. Ride, ride. The air was chilly and the moon shone bright. Ride, ride. They rode him past a man of war, landed on the Charleston shore, where the finest steed was ready for the ride of Paul Revere. Ride, the night before. Ride, ride till the truth be told. Ride, ride like the man of old. Ride like Paul Revere. Slow down. Whoa! I wonder if 200 years ahead, ride, ride, if they will ride or if they'll stay in bed. Ride, ride, with their freedom within them glad. And when they hear that midnight cry and the hoofbeats cross the moonlit sky, will they ride like Paul Revere? Ride with Paul Revere.
By July 1776, the colonists were still under the rule of the king. There was a lot at stake. Declaring independence was a serious matter. Do they remain under the rule of the king, or do they adopt the resolution to declare independence? They chose independence.
or swim, live or die, survive or perish, I give my hand and my heart to this vote. There's a divinity that shapes our ends. Why then should we defer the declaration? We may not live to the day when this declaration shall be made good, but it will stand. It may cost treasure and it may cost blood, but it will stand. And it will richly compensate for both. Gentlemen, this is the moment we have waited for. This is the moment. This is the day when I send all my doubts and demons on their way. Every endeavor I have made ever is coming into play, is here and now today. This is the moment, this is the time when the momentum and the moment are in rhyme. Give me this moment, this precious chance. I'll gather up my past and make some sense at last. This is the moment when all I've done, all of the dreaming, scheming, and screaming become one. This is the day. See it sparkle and shine when all I've lived for becomes mine. For all these years I've faced the world alone, and now the time has come to prove to them I've made it on my own. This is the moment, my final test. Destiny beckoned, I never reckoned second best. I won't look down, I must not fall. This is the moment, the sweetest moment of them all. This is the moment I face the odds. This day or never, I'll sit forever with the gods. When I look back, I will always recall, moment to moment, this was the moment, the sweetest moment of them all.
America was now a new nation. But freedom is never free. England was again breathing down the necks of America and would not let go. America was once again at war, the War of 1812. England bombarded Fort McHenry to break the will of the American people. However, Americans still held tight to their beliefs and were willing to once again die for their freedom. Both sides had captured prisoners. Francis Scott Key was appointed to negotiate the release of the prisoners.
Men, I've got news for you tonight. You are free. Free from this boat, free from these chains.
Plans have changed. If your people do not take down the colors of that flag, we will destroy Fort McHenry.
You can't attack that fort, sir. There are innocent women and children.
We have told your people that if they take down that flag, we will stop the shelling immediately, and you will be under British rule.
They were surrounded by the whole British Armada.
How many ships? Hundreds!
Tell us where the flag is.
What have they done with the flag?
Is the flag still flying over the rampart?
Tell us!
Every time the bombs would explode near the flag, Francis Scott Key could see the flag illuminated in the red glare of that bomb.
It's still up, it's not down!
Ha!
The barrage was unmerciful. When Key went below, all he could hear was the men praying.
Please, God, keep that flag flying where we last saw it.
Sunrise came, and the flag was in shreds. The flagpole itself was at an angle, but the flag was still at the top. The flag had suffered many direct hits, but it never fell. They all knew what it meant if that flag fell to the ground, so they held it until they died. Their bodies were removed, and others took their place. What held that flagpole in the place at that unusual angle were the bodies of patriots. Those men had given their last full measure of devotion for freedom. While on the ship that morning, Key penned these words.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The payment was demanded. The price was paid.
I hear the sound of a distant drummer. I hear the trumpet's call. I hear the tramp of a bandman marching, stirring my heart and soul. I hear the stars and stripes forever. I hear the cymbals clash, leading the way in the grand parade. I thrill to my country's flag. I love Old Glory. In her I see the hopes of all men who would be free. I love Old Glory. Long may she wave over America, the homeland of the brave. I hear the voice of a schoolboy speaking, and held upon his heart, pledging his love for God and country, yearning to do his part.
May he grow up in a land of honor, never to see his flag trampled and torn by the hands of the faithless, burned like a common rag.
I love Old Glory, in her I see the hopes of all men who would be free.
cannon volley, honoring one so brave. I hear the wheels of a cortege rolling on a patriot's grave. God rest the soul of the valiant soldier, willing to die for truth. Carry him now to a hero's rest, draped in the red, white, and blue.
I love Old Glory, in her I see the hopes of all men who would be free. I love Old Glory, long may she reign over America, over America, the whole land of the
I love Old Glory.
Today we meet new challenges that threaten our liberty, our freedom. Today more than ever, we need to know what it means to be a true American. We need to stand behind the ideals that have made America great. We must support the supreme law of our land, our great Constitution, and the principles found in our Declaration of Independence. We need to stand by our convictions and our commitments. We long for the day when our troops can come home from war. In the words of an American soldier, I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life. In America, we are all soldiers in the responsibility of protecting and upholding freedom. We will never accept defeat. We will never quit. United we stand, divided we fall. But we will never walk alone.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
Here in America, the very winds carry freedom. They carry it everywhere from sea to shining sea. See that flag? See those flags over there? Can you see that statue? The Statue of Liberty. Can you feel the spirit of those entering Ellis Island? These symbols stand for freedom, and we know they always will. Like our ancestors who came through Ellis Island, today we hope you renew your citizenship in America. America, the home of the brave, the land of the free. God bless us all, and God bless America!
who calls us to the line from the midst of a long ago. The battle sabers shine, and the shadows the flags all throw. For the glory, for the land forever free, for the last best hope of mankind, for the better part of me, for the glory, for the words we hold so dear. Let us give the last full measure, gather here for the glory. Time has come at last. Let the drums start the long, long roll. The bridges burn, the die is cast. To His grace I commend my soul. For the glory, for the Dixie that I know, for the way of life we cherish. Let us die or let us go. For the glory, for the home we hold so dear. Let us give the last full measure, gathered here for the glory. Sleep in my arms now. All your pain is past. Sleep, for you have traveled far. Now you are home at last. Rest for a while now. All your work is done. Rest here in my waiting arms. Now that your race is run. For the glory, for the men who've gone before, for the men who will come after, we will wage this bloody war. For the glory, for the truth we hold so dear. Let us give the last full measure, gathered here for the glory. In history, I've learned about so many countries where people lost their right to freedom, the blessings you and I all share. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. Everybody stand up and sing. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the to the hills of Tennessee.
You know the words sing.
Across the lands of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say that I'm proud to be